Hello, welcome back to the workshop. This is the cruise control module from my old Pontiac Montana minivan. This one is made by Delphi. It's electrically controlled and electrically operated. There's a servo inside that drives a cable, which actuates the throttle body. This one doesn't work, so when I'm driving the van and I hit the button inside, nothing happens. I've tested the connector on the van. I did a pinout with a multimeter, and everything there is working correctly, so I suspect the module has failed. This module is 22 years old and it's got a rather large connector that comes into it. Electronics from this time frame, especially when they get older, solder joints inside tend to crack. Since this one does have such a large connector, I'm hoping that that connector has fatigued solder joints, and that's what's failed. That's why it stopped working. So in today's video, we're going to take this apart, we're going to look at those joints, see if we can fix them, put it back together, and see if we can make it work. If that interests you, stay tuned, we'll get started. To get at those solder joints, we need to remove this top cover. It's got 4 screws that hold it on, but I suspect those were just used for assembly, and it's actually glued together. So I'm going to take these 4 screws out, and we'll see if it lifts off. If it doesn't, we'll have to figure out how to get this cover off. Yeah, this is glued together. So when they glue modules like this together, they usually use a really strong adhesive around the perimeter. So to get this apart, that seam is really tight. So I'm going to use a chisel. I'm going to work my way around it and see if I can create a gap. Oh, that cracked that. So I suspect the adhesive is actually around the top here, and this is fitting over like a lip. That's going to make this more difficult to remove. I'm going to work my way around with the heat gun, and I'm going to see if I can soften that adhesive enough that I can pull this apart. Ooh. I'm getting some movement here on this side. Ah, sweet. We're in. So there was just a little band of adhesive right in that groove. So here's a better look at that from the inside. So this is the servo. It drives this gear. That gear is attached to a nylon ribbon. So that nylon ribbon must connect to the cable right here. And it looks like when you set the cruise that this is pulled and held in that position. The electronics are all right here on the top. This is just a single layer board. So I think any solder joints that are going to impact how this functions are going to be right here on the top. Oh, this one right here has got a crack in it. It's really small. It runs right around the base of the solder joint. Oh, this one's got a crack in it too. These cracks are super tiny. There's one right there as well. All right, so I'm suspicious of these 3 right here, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to heat up my soldering iron, put a little flux on that, and I'm going to reflow these. And then we'll plug it in and see if it works. I am using a paste flux and some automotive solder. There's nothing special about this stuff. And I'm brushing the flux on with a paintbrush. But I am going to reflow all of these for the connector here, and then also the ones that go to that servo. I've been over the board, I've gotten all the joints that are suspicious. It occurs to me now that I could have put a multimeter on this and checked continuity. That's how that should have been done, but that ship has kind of sailed. So now I'm using a little alcohol and a brush here, and I'm cleaning off this flux residue. No, doesn't look like it's working. All right, we're gonna try again. Off, on, long push. No, that's not working. All right, that's unfortunate. I've had luck in the past repairing things like radios, ABS modules. I even fixed a PCM once, but today, just no luck. Electronics from that era, automotive electronics from the late 90s, early 2000s, especially if they've got a big connector. The solder joints tend to crack over time. So if you're working on an electronic device from a vehicle in the late 90s, things like ABS modules, radios, instrument clusters, anything with that big connector, pop it apart, take a look at the solder joints. If you see them cracked, try and fix them. It may resolve your problem. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I'm gonna have to buy a new module. It's unfortunate because they run about $300. It is what it is. We give it a shot. So, hope you enjoyed watching today's video. I'll see you later.